Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I'd like to look how the last couple of days have unfolded on the US eminis, in particular on the ES, so some good examples here. You can see the chart here I've got has already got my 15-minute DPs on the chart here. This is the 3-minute chart of the ES, so if you like I'll go to the 15-minute chart. I'll just clear these off and show you how I would have placed these on the chart in advance. Now the beauty of using these 15-minute DPs is they are basically leading indicators. So if I just pop back to the 3-minute chart, for new MTPredictor customers we basically have our STF color, which is red for downtrend, black for flat, blue for an uptrend, as an easy way to get the large degree trend. However, all indicators, as we know, are lagging. In other words, they react to market turns a bit late. So what we want is to try and teach you guys how to use the leading indicators in MTPredictor, which are our DPs and our patterns on our higher time frame charts. So for this video I'll zip straight over to the 15-minute chart and show you what I would have done. So before the market even opened yesterday, we'd have gone back and placed a DP on from the last sort of swing low, which would have been here. So this DP would have been here, and as you can see it actually caught the low of the day the previous day, which I'll be talking about a bit later. But we'd actually gone beyond that. In other words, we'd gone down beyond that. When that happens, we then go back to look to the next significant low. So was it this low here? Well, no, not really. If we go back to here, we can see we got some kind of corrected pattern here. So this looks like a reasonably significant low. So if I place the DP on from here, that would have given a support zone out there in advance. But remember, this would have been placed on the chart even before the market even opened. And you can see what happened. The market came down. It then hit this level and reversed, and that actually nailed the low of the day. The market started to rally. So what would we have done then? Well, we've gone back to the last pivot high. So this is the last swing down to the low, so we'd have gone back to this pivot here, placed this DP on here, and this would have given us an area of where the market was likely to rally to. And as you can see, it went up, corrected down, back up again, and this caught the very high of the day. So let's now go down to the 3-minute chart and see what this actually would have meant for our trading. Well, as you can see here, here's our 15-minute DP catching the low, market rallies up. Because the market is rallying up, I'll just take that DP off because we know that's not relevant because the market went through it. Because the market is rallying up and had not reached this higher decision point resistance level, this sell setup would now be against the large degree uptrend, so therefore you would have been avoiding this sell setup. This is the beauty of using the DPs on the higher time frame, because they really do give you a good idea of the large degree trend direction. The market then gave us another setup here. You can see there's a small history triangle just on this pivot low. So if I place the analysis on, this would have allowed us to enter a long trade here. The market just went to our 100% initial risk level, so you may well have taken your stop to break even at that point. If you had have done, you would have been stopped out to break even. However, if you'd been using the standard trade management guidelines, you'd have kept your stop at the original position, which actually means, very frustratingly, you'd have been taken out just right to the tick here. That's okay, because our correct position sizing would have kept your losses small and under control, so this would have been a -1R loss. The market then gave us another buy setup straight away, so you'd have been stopped out, and then you've come in and then taken another trade. This one went up to our first target beautifully, and in fact actually look where the high of the day came in, right at that 15-minute decision point area that we had on our chart, again before the market even opened. So this was an area you knew, you were anticipating the market was going to rally to. The result was a nice 2.4R. 2.4R profit means that the profit was approximately 2.4R, or 2.4 times greater than the initial risk or the losses. This is a good example of why this is so good, because this profit was 2.4R, the loss we had earlier was 1R, therefore you actually made profit of -1R plus 2.4, i.e. plus 1.4R overall for the end of the day. So even though you had one losing trade, one profitable trade, you'd have actually made money overall, and that's the key to successful position sizing. For the more advanced traders among you, if I scroll in a bit, I just want to have a look here. If I scroll in a bit, you can see because we had a high time frame resistance, we had a VSA bar here coming up into this higher time frame resistance. So you may well have actually set up a short trade off the high of the day into a potential target down here. So you may well have actually had a manual sell trade potentially down into this level, and obviously it didn't get there, it only got into the close. Should have made approximately a 1 hour profit as the market came down there on the close. So advanced traders could have had another profit there as well. So overall, a very good day yesterday and a profitable day for MTPredictor on the ES, and in particular notice how well these decision point levels, these 15-minute decision point levels, caught the highs and the lows. I mean, to have that 15-minute DP resistance up there in advance all throughout the day to give you a high confidence of an area where the market is likely to find a high, and look where it reversed right at that high, was a great result. So a good day yesterday. The day before was also a very good day as well. So if I clear everything off and I go back to the 15-minute chart, I just want to show you what the day before unfolded, because we were talking about this in our training webinar. As per usual, we'd have had our DP off the prior pivot high. So there you go. And as you can see, the market opened, went up, made a high right at that level absolutely beautifully. As it started to decline off, I'll just put this next DP on because I'll be using that in a minute. You can see that came down and actually caught the low of the day. So our decision points now, the very high of the day and the low of the day here for Monday. This was Monday the 5th of May. What would have this meant on a shorter time frame chart? Well, on a shorter time frame chart, you can see we actually had an automatic DP sell right at the high of the day. And if I place the analysis on, you can see that actually gave you a lovely short trade into here for a nice 3.1 hour profit. For the more experienced users among you, will also see that was a lovely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the high at the end of a 5-wave sequence. So that caught a sell setup on the 3-minute chart at the higher time frame 15-minute resistance for a nice 3.1 hour profit. I'll just clear that all off. There's also another sell setup a bit later in the day, so the market came down, then retraced back up here, but notice how it hadn't reached the 15-minute support level. So this was also a good trade to take, and as you can see, the market came down here for a nice 2.7 hour profit as well. So you had two profitable trades there as well. For the more experienced users among you, I'd also like to show you how this decline down here into this 15-minute low unfolded perfectly in our MTPredictor isolation approach to Elliott wave guidelines, in that the decline down here was a perfect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so a 5-wave sequence down here. We then anticipate the market is then going to rally, but not anywhere, rally into the DP from the prior wave 4. So if I place that on, again, these are on the chart in advance before the market gets there. Look what the market did, went right up in that decision point level there before declining off very nicely indeed. So the patterns that unfolded on Monday, that was Monday the 5th, adhered to our MTPredictor guidelines absolutely perfectly. Particularly I like this DP sell at the high of the day here. In our trading room there were actually some customers who were looking at this but on the YM, and here's our one on the YM. The YM was actually a 5-wave sequence up into the high there just like that, and normally we suggest that after a 5-wave sequence is complete there's a move into the prior DP, and I won't place the analysis on, but that was a 3-hour profit. The market then came down up to our tier 3 sell, just as with the ES, the market went down into the first target, which actually was the low of the day, absolutely perfectly. This was actually a standard MTPredictor trade setup because the SDF was red, and there you go, a lovely 3.9 hour profit. So a very, very good day there. But the point being is that this very trade here was taken by one of our customers and reported to us in our training webinar live on on Monday. Right. Let's go back. Sorry, this was Friday. So this was Friday the 2nd. Sorry, Friday the 2nd I'm looking at here. Yesterday was Monday the 5th. Sorry about that. Let's go back here and again just recap. So the day I was looking at here was Monday the 5th, where we had some nice buy setups, and in particular how we had the high of the day and the low of the day caught by our 15-minute DPs. I'll place those on again. You can just see those again. Let's do that up at the high there, and also how not only did we have some nice trade setups yesterday, which was Monday, but how particularly the day before, which was Friday, sorry about that, which was Friday the 2nd of May, a lovely DP sell right at the high of the day at the 15-minute decision point as well. Caught a nice trade down there as well, and then a lovely TS3 sell, wave 5 sequence after that, right up into the DP from the wave 4. So Friday unfolded absolutely perfectly. So a very good couple of days for the MTPredictor software routines and software programs and software users over the last couple of days.